Good morning, it's Patsy. I've come on today to do the hashtag Simon's just started my first tarot deck. The lighting's not great today, it's quite a miserable day out there. It's been raining and windy and no sun or nothing. So, my first tarot deck. My first deck was brought in the early to mid 1990s. It came at a time that I just previously lost my brother, who I was very close to, at the age of 25. So I kind of started my journey visiting mediums and different things shortly after we lost him. At that time in Peterborough, where I live, there was a big shop called 00, and I used to love going in there. There used to be, I collect Native American figures, and I used to go in there to buy them. It used to be full of dream catchers, statues, all things spiritual, incense, crystals, everything. And I used to just love to spend time in there. I went in there this particular time, and for some reason, I don't know why, because it has never even been on my, mind, or even, I don't think I'd even seen them really. If I had, I hadn't taken no notice of them. And I'd certainly not had a reading or nothing with them. But I spotted tarot cards on the shelf. So I picked the deck up and said, I'm going to have these. Had no idea what to do with them, how they worked, or anything like that, but I just felt that I had to have them. So I picked my first deck up. Now that deck was the original Rider-Waite, and I still have that deck. Well, I did, but my daughter, when she started reading the tarot, I gave it to my daughter, so she has it. For 20 odd years, that tarot cards was the only one I had, and it was kept in a box, wrapped in silk, because I remember at that time in the 90s getting books from the library, and they all said, oh, they should be in a box and they should be covered in silk and this, that and the other, and I believed it all because I was learning. So wherever I moved, this box came with me, and it had my tarot cards in. Obviously, life takes over, children, a breakup of a marriage, etc., etc. There was a long period of time I didn't use them and I didn't study them, but I kept them, and like I said, they stayed in this box on a shelf for all those years. And it was last year, I believe, that my daughter started getting interested herself, and I gave her that deck, still still wrapped up in its silk cover and that. But I do believe I gave the box to my other daughter, because it was made by my first husband, their dad, who passed a couple of years ago of cancer. So I think I gave that to one of the other daughters as a keepsake of her dad. But the other one who wanted to read the tarot, she's got the deck. So like I said, it was just the ordinary, everyday original Rider-Waite that I learned with. That was my first deck. After I gave it to my daughter, I felt quite strange that I didn't actually have the original left in the house. I'd got all these decks, but not the original one that I bought all those years ago. So I did go out last summer and buy the same deck, just so I had it, because I wouldn't take it back off my daughter. So this is the deck I bought all those years ago, and this is it back again, and it's just a traditional Rider-Waite. I did trim these actually. I did trim these. Took the borders off, but it was just the blue backed, what everybody's seen. It was just that deck that I got, and like I said, I've got it back. Oh, chucking them away. But like I said, I did trim mine. I quite like them trimmed actually. But yeah, so this, and I never really use it because I've got so many decks now, and even though I like the Rider-Waite system, I do tend to use other decks. But I just wanted this original deck back, and what I sometimes do is, if I get a new deck and they're based on the Rider-Waite, but sometimes the images are a bit, oh, what's that? I very often will compare it for journaling and get out, you know, if it's a Justice card, I'll drag out the Justice original and put them side by side, and then do some writing and studying with them side by side, whether there's much the same and where there's differences, etc, etc. So yes, so this is my first, well, not this deck, it's, you know, the first deck, but it's this deck that I did buy all those years ago. And yes, it's still about, it's just in my daughter's house, so I went and bought this one. So I still had a copy of the original. I've just trimmed it, just makes it easier for me to use. But yeah, so that was my very first deck, and like I said, that was the only deck that I had for many years. And it was only a couple of years ago that I started getting lots of decks. Up until then, I think I had 3 tarot decks. So yeah, so that was my first tarot deck. Be interesting to see others who do the lists hashtag. It's a great hashtag, by the way, Simon, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.